Like BET Award weekend, it didn't, like the past two, they just didn't feel right. Because there was no motion, there was no parties. There was nowhere to go.
Bow Wow said that he is upset, or he feels the way that there's no more Diddy parties. He's like almost like he's feeding for the Diddy parties. Like, man, it ain't
flashy. So like I said, Jermaine was like the nigga on the block who had the gold rope chain, the whips, the women, you know, a young nigga coming up, you see that, you want them same things.
Remember Bow Wow, the kid rapper every girl loved in the 2000s? Well, let's just say Diddy's wild parties might have flipped his whole script.
Like, nah. He's like the gatekeeper to the game. To the point to where, what weekend just passed? Like beat?
Sources claim Bow Wow wasn't just a guest, he was deep in the scene. And what people say they saw him do at those parties, let's just say Freak doesn't even begin to cover it.
Mind you, they wasn't gonna put Bow Wow on TRL like that because he was a rapper. He was a black little young boy rapping, but he also was 12 years old. Nobody on TV was 12 years old.
From an innocent teen star to something way darker, this is how Diddy's world allegedly changed Bow Wow forever. So let's get into it. Lil Bow Wow, the adorable kid who had every girl in the early 2000s singing Bounce With Me. Well, what if we told you that the cute child star you grew up with might have been caught up in something way darker than anyone ever imagined? It all leads back to two powerful men in the music game, Jermaine Dupri and Sean Diddy Combs.
Flashy, so like I said, Jermaine was like the nigga on the block who had the gold rope chain, the whips, the women, you know, a young nigga coming up, you see that, you want them same things.
Bow Wow wasn't just a young rapper. He was the child star of the early 2000s. With hits like Bounce With Me and Bow Wow, That's My Name, the kid was everywhere. But behind the flashy videos, sold-out tours, and so-so def chains, there was one man orchestrating it all, Jermaine Dupri. Dupri wasn't just Bow Wow's producer. He was his mentor, his handler, his industry father. He controlled the image, the music, the money. On the surface, it looked like a dream come true for a young artist. But let's be honest, what kind of childhood did Bow Wow really have? Because when you dig deeper, things start to look less like a fairy tale and more like a setup. Now here's where it gets shady. Jermaine Dupri and Sean Diddy Combs weren't just music moguls. They were tight. Industry insiders say these two moved like brothers. Same parties, same artists, same secrets. So it's no surprise that once Bow Wow got big, he suddenly found himself in Diddy's orbit.
Who gonna get the females first, y'all or him?
Definitely.
But that's when the energy changed. According to Jermaine himself, on camera, he allowed adult dancers to be around Bow Wow while he was still a minor.
He was about 12.
This is
12.
Jermaine Dupri right
He
here.
couldn't go with me when I go to this club, right? So, dude, them was outside the club, on the street, dancing for this.
Think about that. A child star, not even old enough to drive, surrounded by grown women dancing provocatively. That's not mentorship, that's grooming by exposure. And guess who was always nearby when these grown-up environments were created? Diddy. Because Diddy didn't just throw any parties. He threw infamous, invite-only, no cameras allowed parties. The kind of events where young artists were introduced to the real power players. The kind where what happens inside stays hidden, until now. Bow Wow recently faced backlash for supporting Diddy. "I never thought I would see it like this," the rapper recently said during a guest appearance on the More to the Story podcast with Roxy Diaz. He's like the gatekeeper to the game, to the point to where BET Award weekend like the past two, it just didn't feel right because there was no motion, there was no parties. While he didn't mention Combs' sexual freak-off parties, Bow Wow continued, "It's like a hole." He was just such a gatekeeper for the liquor in the clubs. He was everything hip-hop. So for that to die out, you just really never thought, especially when you look at somebody as somebody you studied, somebody you idolized. Bow Wow's comments about missing Sean Diddy Combs' legendary parties during a chat on the More to the Story podcast have sparked a social media frenzy. The rapper faced a backlash after reminiscing about Diddy's after parties and the fact that they've stopped happening.
Like after my first year of being working with celebrities, I figured out what it was. I said, oh.
Reflecting on the past BET Awards, Bow Wow mentioned the lack of motion without Diddy's events. There was no parties, there was nowhere to go, he said, making it clear he wasn't referring to the controversial freak-offs tied to Diddy's legal troubles. He also sympathized with Diddy's children, and social media didn't hold back. Some criticized Bow Wow for seeming more upset about the parties than the allegations, while others were shocked by how candid he was. Bow Wow reportedly had a close bond with Diddy, having signed with Bad Boy Records in 2015 per Vibe. However, things got tense in 2022 when Diddy was spotted with Bow Wow's ex and the mother of his child, Joey Chavis, according to Distractify. After photos of the Bad Boy mogul and Chavis mother to Bow's oldest child, Shay, leaked back in September 2021, the former so-so-def artist revealed he felt Joey knew better. He also admitted that he spoke to both parties separately about the ordeal. "Me and her, we had our discussion about it. Trust me," he explained. "Me and dude, we definitely had our rep, but I'll keep that between us. We handled it the way we was supposed to handle it. There's a conduct and code men go by, and everyone knows certain things are off limits. Wives and baby mamas is just some S that, you steer clear from." So when Bow Wow transitioned from Dupree's watch to Diddy's world, many believe it wasn't just a business move. It was a handoff. One man prepped the kid, the other exploited him. And that's the part nobody wants to talk about. But now, people are talking. Big homie CC, an insider with receipts, recently went public saying he's seen Bow Wow at these parties. And he wasn't just chilling. He implied Bow Wow was fully involved, doing things that would make your skin crawl.
A sex worker?
Ah, man.
You
Pick
can
one.
pull anybody you want, male or female, to the bathroom. Job.
Now here's where the conspiracy gets chilling. There's talk, whispers online and in back channels, that Bow Wow was passed around between Jermaine Dupri and Diddy. Not just career-wise, but you know what we mean. Industry insiders claim this is part of a larger pattern. Young stars being prepped, exploited, and passed through a system of power and control. Bow Wow, being young, popular, and trusting of his mentors, may have been the perfect target.
Can't go completely crazy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you still gotta, you know what I mean? If you got a bunch of parents buying tickets to your concerts, then you can't be on your video. If that's what you want to do at 15.
Jermaine warms them up, Diddy finishes the job, and if that's true, Bow Wow may not have stood a chance. A lot of people have been whispering about for years. JD's so-called mentorship came at a serious cost. Bow Wow was turned into a child star, but behind the scenes, his life was nothing like what people thought. We're talking about wild parties, fast living, and a 12-year-old Bow Wow being pushed into the adult nightlife scene, something he says messed him up for life.
Man, when people be like, I'll see shit and they're like, but he created him. I'm like, no, crisscross. The mall walking around not knowing how to rap. He created them.
Bow Wow even admitted that he got hooked on lean for years. So here's the real question. Why was Jermaine Dupri taking a kid to strip clubs? And what did that do to his life and career? And if that's not wild enough, a recently resurfaced video of Cat Williams just threw more fuel on the fire. He brought up disturbing claims about Diddy and JD allegedly targeting young male artists, including Bow Wow.
Jermaine Dupri, king of the pedophiles, if you ask me, baby.
For years, there have been shady rumors about JD's involvement, or at least him turning a blind eye while powerful people like Diddy took advantage of these kids. At one point, JD even clapped back at a fan on IG, saying something about a lawsuit from 17 years ago involving Chris Cross. And apparently they won, but the whole thing got swept under the rug. Cat Williams came in and added fuel to the fire, straight up calling out JD in 2011, along with Diddy and Steve Harvey. Cat even went as far as to label Jermaine the king of peas. But let's rewind to where it all began. Before all the drama, Bow Wow, real name Shad Moss, was just a 6-year-old kid when Snoop Dogg discovered him at a concert. Snoop was so impressed, he gave him the nickname Lil Bow Wow and introduced him to the rap game.
I learned from Snoop. I've learned from Puff. I've learned from Birdman. I'm like, listen.
Things really kicked off when 11-year-old Bow Wow crossed paths with Jermaine Dupri. That meeting flipped the script on his whole life. JD, who already had major street cred from launching Chris Cross, saw something special in the young rapper and brought him into the so-so-def family. He helped shape Bow Wow's debut album, Beware of Dog, and it was a total hit. Tracks like Bounce With Me took off, and just like that, Bow Wow was everywhere.
Reason why little niggas call themselves little. It was nobody out before Little Bow Wow. If you got little in front of your name and you claim you didn't get that from Bow Wow, you're lying.
But behind the scenes, it was far from innocent. Under JD's mentorship, Bow Wow wasn't just learning how to rap. He was being introduced to a lifestyle no child should be exposed to. Dupree himself admitted to taking a 12-year-old Bow Wow to strip clubs. In one infamous story, JD claimed he left Bow Wow in the car while he partied inside, but when he came back, strippers were already outside, dancing for Bow Wow right on the street.
Just to know my stuff, just to know my business. Like when I go in the studio, it's always important just to know everything and what exactly is going on.
Imagine being 12 and thrown into that world. Years later, Bow Wow opened up about how these experiences messed him up, from his mental health to his relationships with women. He even blamed JD for his struggles with addiction. Bow Wow also grappled with addiction. It all started innocently enough as Bow Wow found himself immersed in the world of hip-hop culture, surrounded by peers who indulged in the party lifestyle. He was introduced to a dangerous concoction known as lean. This potent mixture, consisting of codeine cough syrup and soda, became his escape from the pressures of fame and the harsh realities of life. At first, Bow Wow saw lean as a way to unwind and let loose. It provided him with a temporary sense of euphoria, numbing the stress and anxiety that often accompanied his celebrity status. But little did he know that this seemingly harmless drink would soon become his greatest adversary. As Bow Wow's addiction to lean deepened, the consequences began to manifest in his personal and professional life. The once vibrant and energetic artist started to lose his spark, with his performances marred by the effects of substance abuse. His relationships with friends and family became strained as his focus shifted solely to defeating his addiction. But it wasn't just the physical toll that lean took on Bow Wow's body. It was the emotional and psychological torment that accompanied it. The intense pain and withdrawal symptoms he experienced when he tried to quit were unbearable. The grip of addiction tightened, leaving him trapped in a vicious cycle of dependency. "I was on lean. I was sipping so much syrup," he said on the show. "I was drinking that's like crazy." If you go back and watch the Road to Platinum series on BET, you'll see so many white styrofoam cups. I was losing my f***ing mind. That leans had me ed up. I was just always irritated. Bow Wow explained that his addiction to lean became so out of control that he was drinking all day long. He described how regardless of where he was, he and others around him were constantly sipping on the concoction. Despite initially believing he didn't have an addictive personality, the rapper's dependency on lean eventually led to serious consequences, including a hospitalization.
I collapsed. And I was like, what the f? And I went straight to Cincinnati University Hospital. I'm talking about my stomach was so f***ed up.
He recounted a specific incident during a tour with Chris Brown where he collapsed after a performance in Cincinnati. Bow Wow was rushed to Cincinnati University Hospital due to severe stomach issues caused by his lean consumption. After returning home to Atlanta, his condition worsened significantly, with symptoms including vomiting, shivering, and sweating, which he later realized were withdrawal symptoms from the excessive lean intake.
I collapsed. And I was like, what the f? And I went straight to Cincinnati University Hospital. I'm talking about my stomach was so f***ed up.
This experience highlighted the extent of Bow Wow's addiction and the profound impact it had on his health and well-being. And you have guessed it right, Diddy might be behind all this. People believe that he might have helped Jermaine with substance, and he allowed him to do substance use. Diddy's rep as Hollywood's ultimate party king has been around since the 90s, thanks to all the buzz about his legendary parties. And honestly, if Puff's always been a heavy drinker, a lot of his messy moments probably come down to him just being super wasted. But right now, the major thing in question is the actual substance that he used in his parties. Not only he drank, but claims suggest that he also forced other rappers to use that substance as well. And that's what he is facing in the court.
Describing how Combs allegedly used lies, drug threats, and to coerce women to have sex in front of male escorts.
Recently, it was linked to Diddy in a lawsuit filed by his former music producer, Rodney Jones. He alleged it was required all employees from the butler, the chef to the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with C, GHB, ecstasy, M gummies, 100 to 250 milligrams each, and Tucci, a pink D that is a combination of ecstasy and C. He alleges that he was forced to solicit S workers and perform S acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs from 2022 to 2023. This is not it. Rodney has named some names who worked for Diddy in carrying out all the explicit activities. Christina KK Coram is named as a defendant in a civil suit filed by him. He alleged that she instructed other employees to acquire substances and hire S-workers. Jones also claimed that when he complained to Coram about Combs touching him inappropriately, she said that was how the music mogul showed affection. Well, this is how a person can act when he uses that substance. Another suit filed by Seven Gazelle accuses Coram of arranging the hotel accommodations and transportation that made it possible for Combs to repeatedly A her. Gazelle claims Coram obtained the D's Combs gave victims and covered up his A. This ultimately led to the speculations that he used high-potency Ds to literally numb his victims so that they never remember what actually happened to them. The lawsuit alleges that Diddy had a preference for a substance known as Pink C, 2CB, or Tucci. This substance, classified as phenylethylamine 2CB, is a blend of ecstasy and C. According to the suit, Diddy obtained these substances from Brendan Paul, his alleged D mule, who was recently apprehended. However, when Paul failed to deliver the D, Diddy turned to Brownlee as an alternative source, as outlined in Jones' additions to the lawsuit.
C is the coke, but they take the cat and cook it up. And they fold it into the cup.
Jaguar Wright is one of those people who openly claim that Diddy might have used this type of drug given the history of his victims. The drug is so strong that it can numb any kind of pain. That's the reason many of his victims do not remember what actually happened to them.
I've been saying it.
Yeah.
How many times I got these is wild.
But like any substance, there are several dangerous side effects on the body and users' perception of reality. One of the things around mixtures such as this is people's behavior might become unpredictable, and they may do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done, said Dr. Brian Hurley, an addiction psychiatrist with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. The situation went messy when Cassie joined the chat in this trial. Cassie told the court the freak-offs could last for days on end and that she had to stay awake throughout them. When I wasn't working on my music, I was recovering from partying that took a big chunk out of my life, she said. The freak-offs became a job where there was no space to do anything else but to recover and try to feel normal again. Staying up for days on end, taking Ds and other substances, drinking, having S with a stranger for days.
To New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor.
Legal analyst Greg Jarrett dropped the bomb on Fox News. He said prosecutors described Sean Diddy Combs as a manipulative criminal who controlled and coerced people with drugs. They even showed a video of him assaulting his girlfriend. What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs, as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with drugs, threats, money, brandishing guns during these on-camera sexual performances that he liked to call freak-offs, Jarrett said. And at this point, we all know how he manipulated Usher and Justin Bieber when they were young. Now, Usher's name is being brought up in the middle of the Diddy trial, and people are raising eyebrows. Usher and Diddy go way back, like teenage Usher living in Diddy's mansion back. When he was just 13, Combs reportedly became his legal guardian, and that's when things got real fast, real quick. Usher moved from Atlanta to New York in 1994 to live with Diddy and be part of what was called the Puffy Flavor Camp, basically a crash course in the music industry, full of fast-paced lessons and eye-opening experiences. In a 2004 Rolling Stone interview, he hinted that Diddy introduced him to a totally different set of stuff. Then, in a later sit-down with Howard Stern, Usher talked about the wild parties and high life at Flavor Camp, but kept the details vague, suggesting he wasn't always sure how deep he wanted to go into that world. Diddy brought young Usher into his world of lavish parties and flashy gatherings, hoping to toughen up the teen's image and give him that edgy star power. In a 2011 interview, Usher looked back on that time and shared how Diddy really wanted him to lean into a bolder, more streetwise vibe. While that first album didn't blow up right away, Usher admitted the experience was a major stepping stone. It didn't just shape his image, it helped lay the foundation for what turned into a powerhouse 18-year and counting career. He said, "I wanted to drop him. I wanted to be out of business with him. I broke his heart. I broke his mother's heart. It was a very tough period in both our lives." He added, "Then someone said to me, 'Don't be a fool. Don't sell your stock in Usher. He's still going to be a star. He's everything you thought he was the day you signed him.' And that person was Diddy." At the end of the day, many child stars seem to live a dream life. Fame, fortune, and success at an early age. But for some, that dream can turn into something they wish they'd never experienced. A perfect example? Bow Wow. From being a 6-year-old rap prodigy discovered by Snoop Dogg to navigating the wild highs and crushing lows of fame, Bow Wow's story is one of massive success, deep personal struggles, and an ongoing journey of reinvention. Growing up hip-hop, Atlanta. Bow Wow's reality show, which had just finished airing its second season, faced scrutiny and backlash due to the controversy surrounding one of its main cast members. Representatives for the show declined to comment on the situation, leaving fans curious about the future of Bow Wow's role on the series.
Like, Pimpin' is my artist from the Franchise Boys. I call Pimpin' to the studio and say, yo, bring some beats to the studio, let's hear what's going on. I made all of this.
In the midst of the public scrutiny, Bow Wow's lawyer, Joe Hibachi, released a statement expressing confidence that the charges against Bow Wow would be dismissed. He emphasized that Bow Wow had been the victim in the case, alleging that Holden had been the primary aggressor. The lawyer vowed to assist the Fulton County Solicitor General's office in prosecuting Holden. Bow Wow feels very strongly that a man should never lay a hand on a woman, even in self-defense, hence his failure to defend himself here. We are confident that the charges against Bow Wow will be dismissed and look forward to assisting the Fulton County Solicitor General's office in prosecuting Ms. Holden. While Bow Wow awaited the resolution of his legal battle, he took to social media to share glimpses of his life after the arrest. He posted videos on Instagram from a night out and appeared to attend a Super Bowl party alongside Sean Diddy Combs and Jermaine Dupri. However, the incident continued to cast a shadow over his career, and he faced ongoing scrutiny from the media and the public. So now we're left with a disturbing question. Was Bow Wow really just another young star who made some bad choices? Or was he manufactured, manipulated, and molded by powerful men who saw him as a pawn in their twisted game? Because when you connect the dots, the wild parties, the inappropriate environments, the grooming disguised as mentorship, it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like a system. A system where Jermaine Dupri plays the mentor, the gatekeeper who opens the door, and Diddy, he's the one waiting on the other side. Bow Wow, caught in the middle, too young to say no, too famous to speak up. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.